So before we begin with this revisiting review on this movie, because we're going to be doing this is going to be my first revisiting type review on this movie, especially on New Year's, starting with New Year's Evil, because this was originally shown on Elvira's movie Macabre, for those who haven't been wondered, this was originally on Elvira's movie Macabre in 1983. You might know that one. So let's dive into the revisiting review on this movie, starting with New Year's Evil. Sup, you guys? Heavy Metal 95 here. Today we're going to be revisiting the movie for the very first time for this New Year's Eve. We're going to start off with revisiting this cult slasher horror film, New Year's Evil. So, let's start to revisit in this movie as well, because for those who haven't known that they're familiar with this movie was directed by Emmett Alston, who worked on Nine Deaths of the Ninja, as well as many of his other works. So this movie stars Roz Kelly, who is the actress known for the TV show Happy Days, Kip Niven, Alicia Danifu, as well as Terry Copley, Taffy O'Connell, Chris Wallace of Fox News, Jed Mills, among others in this movie. So, it starts off with the movie of how this movie is about where the killer wants to commit murder at midnight, on the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. And he started to kill one of the girls as well. The first he killed was the associate producer, Yvonne, who is working on the New Year's Hollywood Hotline for New Wave Rock Show of the Year. Particularly, we see the New Year's party where it was presented by rock groups such as Shadow and Made in Japan. This was after when her son, Derek, told Diane Sullivan that he has casted in the show, some cheesy sci-fi show called Spaceship America. But she was kind of focused on the work as well, until she gets the call from the killer, whose New Year's resolution was going to kill women at midnight by committing murder at the stroke of midnight New Year's Eve. First, as the countdown goes on this movie, New Year's Evil, is that whenever the countdown comes on New Year's, he disguised as the mental hospital doctor, when he was making out with a nurse in that, he kills the nurse with a switchblade, which is his primary weapon in this movie. And then he later disguised as the business manager when he heads to the disco club in New Year's Eve party. When he picks up one of the girls, especially at a disco New Year's Eve party, so one of the girls has to bring one of her roommate named Lisa in this movie as he parked right in the Mercedes there, just before they were driving, because he was supposed to be there before 10 on New Year's. And then, for the most part as well, is that he was supposed to be there before 10, but this wasn't long until he gets the New Year's countdown on his stereo boombox radio thing. When then, he offers a $100 bill to the girl's roommate Lisa to get a bottle of champagne at the liquor store. As the countdown goes, he suffocates the other girl with a bag of weed in this movie part, which is by suffocating her, because inside the bag is the weed, because it was a Colombian weed in this movie, because he suffocates the woman with the bag of weed, which eventually kills the girl. after Lisa bought the champagne at the liquor store, she wants to notice something. She too is next. That the killer kills her in a dumpster, which is before the cops have tried to find everything until they found bodies, because he killed a couple of them just like what he did to the nurse. And this wasn't long until he disguises as a priest when he just gets into a run-in confrontation by those bikers. And this is before he heads off by seeking shelter in a drive-in theater when they're playing movies like Bloodbath, the 1975 horror anthology movie, and the Italian horror movie La Dama Rossa Uccide Sette Volte. The Red Queen kills 7 times, obviously, at a drive-in theater. But this wasn't long until the bikers followed him there as well. And then he grabs a switchblade and killed one of the bikers and escapes in a stolen car with a girl inside. But this wasn't long until the drunk stopped him. The girl has to hide under those bleachers as well. And then the cops try to get captured, but the killer disappears. So he was off towards the kill. The next victim at the stroke of midnight at the hotel in New York, in L.A., in Hollywood, as particularly in Los Angeles, in California, in this movie particularly. But this wasn't long, particularly. He eventually almost tries to kill Diane Sullivan by trying to crush her in the elevator. But this was when the cops tried to stop the killer by sending him to jail. But he eventually puts on a mask, a Stan Laurel mask on, and then he just jumps off the building and committing suicide, which he kills. And that's particularly how this movie ends, with the killer's son, Derek, killing the driver guy in the ambulance when he was wearing his father's Stan Laurel mask. So that's what this movie's about. However, for this movie, well, this is your typical generic slasher film, but it doesn't seem almost quite a bit as well. If it was slasher, then it would have been felt like if it was given that Halloween or Friday the 13th vibe. But this one plays out like a 70s crime cop thriller film instead of a slasher film. But I know there's some blood and some nudity in this movie. Compared, it's a lot more tame than any other slasher films in general, particularly in this movie like New Year's Evil. The cops have been trying to figure out, especially in this movie though, for the most part, the music is very good as well. Well, particularly, however, the music was basically composed on a synthesizer, which is nothing new for this. However, as well as you have the disco music, which is also playing at a disco New Year's Eve party, which is also included, if you could count that in this movie, though, considering that disco was outdated in the 80s, for those who haven't wondered. However, the characters, we all know is something new, but for my thoughts on this movie, before we get to overall, my thoughts on this movie, well, particularly, you have these audience dressed like punk rockers in this movie. Well, there are some that are heavy metal rockers that wear leather jackets or sleeveless shirts as well, in the crowd, as particularly for whatever you wanted to come by on this movie like New Year's Evil as well, because most certain rock bands dress like punk rockers. They're not really punk rock band. However, the band like Made in Japan is more of a power pop as well as rock group. However, Shadow is more of a hard rock and heavy metal band because they're formed from Kennewick, Washington in 1973 as well. And yep, that is them. You might recognize the band Shadow in this movie. And the music in this one, they don't play punk rock. It's not actually new wave rock music. It's actually more of a classic rock show. If it's felt like it's coming out of the Midnight Special show or specific shows like American Bandstand or the Midnight Special type shows, particularly in this movie. But if this was a new wave rock show, then it would be like if it coming out of a Flock of Seagulls music video where there only be synthesizers, no guitars, punk rockers, headbangers, metalheads in the at a new wave rock show. But it wasn't a new wave rock show because it should have been more of a hard rock, heavy metal, new wave party show on the movie New Year's Evil. However, there are some songs like from Shadow, like When I Wake Up, Headwine, Temper Tantrum, Night Driver, Simon Bar Sinister. You might recognize those songs from the band Shadow in this movie as well, for those who haven't been wondered. As well as other songs like The Cooler as well. However, the rumors that New Year's Evil had a soundtrack available from Canon Records and Tapes, but I don't know if there's any proof of it, but it's still spread that it was in the movie for this as well. But there's only time can tell if the soundtrack was lost media. Although the song New Year's Evil by Shadow was released digitally on music streaming platforms like Apple Music, for those who haven't been wondered, accordingly, just to giving you for the fact for this as well. So, overall, this movie, it's been a long time since I've seen this on Netflix back in 2013, like a lot of times, and now I get to have this on DVD, so I can watch this on New Year's anytime. It's just, although it has its moments, but overall, great movie to watch as well. However, considering that this must be a generic New Year slasher film, but it plays out more like a 70s crime movie, though. Although Kip Niven was featured in Clint Eastwood's movie Magnum Force, for those who don't know as well. And Grant Kramer was on Hard Bodies and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, for those who haven't been wondered as well. In case you wondered. Although, my score for this movie, I'm going to give this 10 out of 10. So that's going to be it for my revisiting review on New Year's Evil for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, especially if you're new to the channel. Smack the like button if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit the notifications bell button for more surprises. Give the video a thumbs up, and as well, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below if you like as well. And that's all I have what I got for this one, because this is the first time I have to revisit the movie like New Year's Evil that I've done before. Although I have reviewed this once, so I had to revisit this movie for the first time because I have never done a revisiting review on this until now, because this is my first revisiting review that I haven't done before. So this is Heavy Metal 95 saying, thank you for watching my video. I'm glad you liked this. Hope you enjoy it. Hope stay safe and stay healthy. Hope you all have a great day. This is Heavy Metal 95 signing off. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you soon for more videos. Take care. Hope you all have a happy New Year's Eve.